Let's talk then a little bit about your experience using QSC products.
Sure.
Along those lines. My first question is, so how did you discover QSC products and how did you start using them?
Well, I started doing a lot of touring starting back in 2006, and originally I was using a guitar rig that was predominantly all analog kind of things, amplifiers and effects pedals in these refrigerator-sized racks, and it became really difficult to take that stuff on the road because it was really expensive and stuff tended to break because, unless it's an air ride trailer and all this kind of stuff, you've got issues all the time. And, if we had to fly somewhere, it just became really problematic. So I had to find a way to downsize my guitar rig, and I did that with using Axe Effects processors, these digital guitar things that are fantastic. So the size of the equipment went way down, and also so did the stage volume because I didn't have speaker cabinets on stage anymore. And the whole purpose of switching to the digital processing was so that it would go directly to the front of house PA, bring the stage volume down, and really improve the dynamics of the performance. And I needed something that would give me some stage spill so that not 100% of the sound was just coming from the PA. There had to still be something from the stage. And that's when I started looking at different wedges that could produce the same kind of response that I would get from a guitar cabinet, but that were full range and sounded like they had enough headroom to really deliver what was the guitar sound that I wanted to have. And the QSC stuff turned out to be the best answer for me. And the greatest thing about it too was that it was a well-known brand that I could find in other places in the world in case something happened or I needed to borrow something or whatever. So it just became a great way to tour.
Was there was it always active loudspeakers that you were looking at when you were looking at wedges? Did you look at a variety of different things?
Originally, when it became the new guitar system, it had to be a full-range speaker that was a powered speaker on its own, and I listened to a lot of different things, and I immediately felt right at home with the QSC stuff because it would give me natural feedback. And it just sounded like it translated from one environment to another. So if I was in the studio and I was listening to the studio monitors and checking the guitar sound, I could just turn those off and listen right directly into the QSCs, and it sounded identical. So I could dial in the sounds either in a studio environment with wedges or from the QSC wedges directly. So that was a big help because you don't want to be chasing your tail, listening to one reference and then go to another and say, well, this isn't translating. So it all worked really well. And as I've continued to develop the system that I use to play guitar on stage, the QSCs are a big part of it all the time just because I really do use them when I'm creating the sounds. So that's the main active monitoring that I use to deliver the sound to me initially.
Okay, great. So I believe you are using KW122s, is that correct? Do you have any other products that you've
That's
used?
the stuff that I use, but I use 4 of them because I use two different, the system that I have is a parallel stereo rig. So I basically have 2 fractal Axe Effects that are programmed differently so that I can blend in different sounds with different pedals. And I have 2 stereo sets of speakers, but the outside ones are left and right wide, and then the inside ones are left and right. So I can get a variety of panning things depending on how I make my presets.
Okay, great. So arguably you got some guys that help you out with production, but do you ever get stuck having to move stuff around on stage, or do you position stuff around on stage yourself?
The thing is, we run a pretty tight ship. I'm my own guitar tech. I'm in there, in the venues, moving stuff around and helping out with stuff. And when things break, it's me that has to deal with it.
So So, and the reason I'm asking this is, you know, are you loading the trucks at times sometimes?
I'm not really loading the trucks, you know, but we do have a pretty small crew that gets it done. You know, we've got 2 guys that that basically are setting up and breaking down all the stuff all the time, but they have other jobs on the road as well.
Sure.
So it's, you know, there's a lot to, you know, the band is 6 people and then there's a 3-person crew. So it's a lot of people to take around the world.
So has using KW, you know, you've talked about being able to reproduce the sounds that you're after.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of right now, what's in my mind, I'm thinking about the guys that are out there humping the gear in and out of the truck, in and out of the venues. Are they thankful to you, shall we say, in any ways that maybe your rig's a little bit easier to move around?
Absolutely.
And set up?
It's so much easier because you can put a bunch of stuff on a single dolly and move it around, you know, and it's a lot less, you know, cumbersome than having 4x12 cabinets loaded with, you know, JBL speakers or different things that are super heavy, you know.
Okay. Let's talk for a minute about, give us a little bit more detail. You said it's you got 4 wedges on stage. I'm just curious, and for those of you who haven't seen his setup, I want to encourage you to go check out his website. It's got a great website with tons of detail on there. I'm sorry we couldn't get some of the pictures to show you live today, but I do want to see if you could tell us a little bit about how you actually have it all set up, because I think it's very interesting.
It's going to change a little bit on this next tour, but still the predominant setup is that there's 2 stereo sets of speakers, and I like to have the widest ones for the widest stereo, you know, the left and right on the outside, and then there's the other 2 that are in the middle. So essentially, it's like if you're at a mixing console and you want to do certain kind of panning, I can put a clean sound right in the middle, or like 10 and 2, and then I can put hard left and right, a distorted sound, and blend them all together and have all this clarity and separation, and it sounds like you're in a studio. You know, it's great for all that kind of stuff.
Do you, when you're recording and stuff, that's still the same rig that you would mic up and
yeah, well,
lay
I
down?
don't even have to mic it. That's the thing, because with the fractal, you can take the direct outs.
Okay.
So in the studio, I will listen on the QSC speakers to get the sound, and then when we actually record it, I don't have to use the speakers in the studio environment. I could mic them up and get some sounds from the room that I'm in, but on stage, we never have to mic the speakers. They just are presenting the direct output of the fractals to the audience for the spill from the stage, because if I didn't do that, you'd only hear me from the PA, and if you were in the front row, in front of the speaker array, you'd hear my guitar from behind you. So you need something from the stage to give that spatial representation.
Okay, gotcha. Appreciate you, all that good information about how you use